Good morning. Welcome to Books at the Bottom of the Stairs. My name's Lorene. I'm so glad to see you. I think we had a little bit of upturn in the number of videos that came by last week, and that's either because the book was of interest or because you all like the look of Steve. But I was happy with the results on that. And yes, there are a couple of comments made that definitely bear thinking about, and I will do that. I'm a great one for rethinking things. Not that I ever tell you guys about it, but I do stop and think about comments that are made. So thank you for that. I do appreciate it. This week, I have two books that, I'm not really sure what the reaction is going to be on that one. So the first one I'm going to talk about is This Is How You Lose the Time Wars. And it is written by two authors. First one is Amal El-Mohtar, and the second is Max Gladstone. And this is a very peculiar kind of letter exchange between two characters. The one is called Red and one is called Blue. And all that we know for sure about them is that they are time travelers, and that over the course of their interventions in history, they have come upon each other's interventions and have come to admire each other. Now, the way this time travel works is there are multiple threads, and I get the sense that there are multiple universes, but they're not all necessarily Earth-like. So these two entities have been reared up, each by a different agency, and these two agencies, I think one is called the agency and the other one is called the garden. Each of them have attributes that their societal group find optimum. Let's say that these have been optimized individuals, and they've gone back into these different threads, and the threads are sort of identified thread number 2026 EE or something like that. And so it's similar to latitude and longitude, so that they can get back to the exact moment where something needs to happen. And sometimes they go deep. They stay into a community or a brotherhood or whatever the case may be, and they may take on the persona that is needed in order to get close and assassinate somebody, or give birth to somebody, or just there's all sorts of variables that take place. So in the course of their professional careers, they've come across each other's works and have admired their signatures, let's say. And at a certain point, one writes a letter to the other. Now, what we don't know is whether it's part of a plan, or we don't know whether it's a means to trap the other. So as we read along, these two are becoming more and more enamored of each other until there's deep declarations of love, and then we getting into actually meeting Red and Blue in a way, and they're having to make decisions about whether they're going to quit the letter writing in order that the other person might be saved, or are they planning some kind of escape. It sounds cool. It sounds really cool as I describe it to you. I had to work hard to get to that description. I did not enjoy the reading and the receiving of it. Not the best one for letter reading, like an exchange of letters back and back. I much prefer something that has dialogue and a setting, and these two characters are on so many different settings and so many circumstances and time frames that I wasn't particularly confused because I wasn't particularly invested. I thought it was kind of an interesting puzzle in a way, like someone's going to be tricked, someone's going to be exploited, was my assumption going into it, because their training and their single reason for being is to help their each's powerhouse or power structure win whatever the war was that they're going to win. It seemed to me that because you can keep going back in time and you can keep readjusting and you can keep overriding the other person's work, it seemed to me entirely a pointless war and a pointless exercise. And at a certain point, okay, here's a spoiler. Go like this in case. At a certain point, I thought that maybe the characters were the same person and that they were writing to each other, to themselves, as a way of getting out of this situation. Okay, spoilers over. It's not really that, come back. It wasn't really a spoiler in so much that it was an idea that I had that would help me keep on reading. Why did I keep reading? It's a book club book. And I'm really making an effort this year to read all the books and to be able to go in and say more than, oh God, I hated it. But this one it struck me as so pointless. Now, I've read other things that have time travel in it, and I would say, on the whole, that when time travel takes place in a middle grade book, somehow it's logical. Maybe that famous Wrinkle in Time, you have to have some logic to it. This, I don't like, aside from winning the head commander's war that was a pointless war, adjacent to the pointless war we are currently watching, there just didn't seem any point, I thought. And the commander, who has sort of the ultimate knowledge of all these time threads and so on, must know what's going to happen. I mean, so it took away all free agency. It took away any kind of choice. It just created this predetermined kind of a world. And I will say that a predetermined world is the one I like the least. I like there to be some room for people to screw up and live with the consequences. So I can't say I loved it. This book has it all by Madeline Miller. She's right, because it encapsulates the entire framework of time with a human sentience. Yeah, it does have it all. It's just, why bother? So, that's a disappointment. The second one I read was a book that I had picked up on spec. I'm trying to remember now who recommended it. I never write that down. But it was recently, there's been quite a lot of chat about mysteries going into Mystery March, but also a lot of people are talking about mysteries for summer reading. And so I think one of the Brits that I watch commented that Susie Dent is a writer, that she's a lexicographer, and she's written quite a number of other books. This book does not give her credit for those books. Those books are nonfiction, and they have to do with words, the history of language, and they're really, what shall I say? From what I understand, they're highly entertaining and they're really informative, and they're really, if you're looking for a nonfiction book that you would like to, just sort of have on your bedside table, I understand that Susie Dent writing is really good. This is her first fiction book, and it is a mystery. And what she has done is taken us into a lexicographer's world. The main character is Martha. Martha's family is fairly academic, and her sister Charlie, or Charlotte, was 2 years older than her and had a very academic life, and she was really achieving, and Martha was just kind of, moseying along behind her, not doing badly, just, not nearly as good as Charlie. Charlie goes missing, and there's lots of mystery around what happened to Charlie, and Martha goes off to Germany. She's learned German. She's doing lexicography work in Germany, and her mom becomes sick, and she decides to come back and help mom through her last months. And all of a sudden, she starts to get these postcards with questions about her sister's death. And there seems to be someone out there who knows something that she doesn't know. And then these postcards start to get sent to other people who were present at the time of Charlie's disappearance. And at this point, it's still unclear whether Charlie has just gone missing or whether she's dead. And but clearly somebody knows something that no one else knows. And these postcards are not ignored. Okay, Martha could have ignored all those postcards, but her workmates don't really let her. They're like, you got to fix this. You got to figure this out. So all kinds of rocks are being unturned, all kinds of relationships that were either glossed over or not apparent at the time of this disappearance and so forth are being revealed. It takes place in the town of Oxford. And the office is in, maybe I said this, the work setting is a dictionary of words that are being revisioned. So let's just take a word like comp, for instance, C-O-M-P. Comp might have meant something back in the 1930s, but now that we've got computers and all the computer adjacent language, we now have got an expansion of what the word comp means. And so there are many, many words like that. And there are also, not in a dictionary, you will get not only the definition of the word or the word root, you can also get expressions. And so I can't think of an example, but so these are all things that this group do and reintroduce into dictionaries with every new edition. And you might ask, what's the point? Because it's going to keep changing and the dictionaries will have new editions and so on. But for those who are very language enthusiasts, let's say, it makes sense. And so this is a world of words, language, definitions, nuances, old language. Some of the language goes back to Middle English, and of course there's Latin and Greek and other ancient culture roots for words. And so we have this kind of an environment that everybody's working in, and pretty much everybody in the story has got some connection in some way to deep language. So this is a book for, so that's the setting. The words are the setting. I didn't really get crazy amount of information about Oxford itself. A little bit. I mean, you know when you're on a river and you know when you're on the land, but that could have happened anywhere. So the mystery, I had an idea about 60% of the way through of who was the person writing the postcards. Now, I'm not going to tell you whether I'm right or wrong. But that was the only kind of insight I had. About the same amount of reading, I thought I knew what had happened to Charlie, but I was only partly right. So this book does not give things away. What this book is not geared to are people who are going to get frustrated with the discussion points around complicated vocabulary, I guess. It's a bit demanding vocabulary-wise. It's not demanding in terms of secrets or puzzles, or you're not left thinking at the end, what the heck? So there's a logical ending, and it's very well resolved. The whole book is so well written. She really has got a gift for excellent craftsmanship of writing. And I would say that the characters, it's her first book of fiction. I would say that she needs to work a little bit on that. All the secondary characters were not terrifically well developed. I mean, we got a sense of their storylines, but you didn't really get a sense of their voice. And a little bit we got a sense of their motivation, but it was a bit more telling than showing. I think the mystery reveal was a bit more, I think everything's a bit more telling than showing. And I think that's probably just a question of first book weaknesses. So would I read another book by Susie Dent? For sure, her nonfiction. I'm going to look for it. And I will keep my eyes peeled for another nonfiction. This is not likely to turn into a series because there isn't an investigating officer or detective agency or anything like that. It's all very internal to itself. So if she's going to write another book, it'll be standalone, as this one is definitely standalone. So yeah, I think that I would recommend it. And but there's definitely going to be some people who should read. Just maybe when you're at the bookstore, just like open it to about page 40 or something, and just see if you like a couple of paragraphs, just to make sure. But I really enjoyed it. I recommended it to a couple of people. But the weekend that I was reading it, I was in a conference full of academics. So they're all like word nerdy, so for sure. And they're all historians. And so, and architects and parks and recreation and just everything that was kind of adjacent to the study of the Society for the Study of Architecture in Canada. So like all kinds of weenie heads were there. So a lot of people who was interested in this. So I definitely had an audience that was keen. And while we were there, which was in St. John, New Brunswick, I thought once again I would try to do a travel vlog. And I did try. I took about 6 pictures, and the weather, it was so windy. It's 3 o'clock, I think. Oh, okay, it just beeps twice. Okay, it was so windy that every time I took out the camera, the sound was horrific, or I couldn't even like hold it straight, or it was pouring rain. And I am so bad at travel stories. I can tell a good story, but I can't document it with beans. So we went into a bookstore, a used bookstore, called Scheherazade. You know that is not a story that is a story I have never read. Is that the one with the 7 veils? No. Scheherazade, it was downtown on Prince William Street. It was partly, the quote here is from E.M. Forster. We are all like Scheherazade's husband in that we want to know what happens next. Maybe she's the one who tells all the stories. Okay, anyways, doesn't matter. I'll figure it out. But I went in twice. The first time I went in by myself because I was getting a little overwhelmed by the amount of people that I was spending time with. Like, whoa, lots and lots of brain stuff going on. So I snuck in, and there were 2 books that they're so pretty. This one is called Thud by Terry Pratchett. It's such a nice hardback. And this was beside it, and it was called Snuff. And they're both by Terry Pratchett. Look at the back on this one. Isn't that great? What a great graphic. He almost always has got good covers. This one you kind of have to look a little bit close because you can see that there's these little black cats in there. Okay, so this has to do with Commander Sam Vines and 2 of his different vacations. He thinks he's always trying to go on vacation and something always goes wrong. The trolls uprise, or there's a body in the bed at the hotel or something. So Commander Sam Vines is always struggling to just not be having to solve a murder. And my daughter told me that this group of books, all the Commander Sam Vine books, are her favorite in the Terry Pratchett long list of books to read. And so I picked them up just because I love the covers, and she thought I had made a good choice. So I try to read a Terry Pratchett every summer, so I'm going to do that. Well, then I went back the second time with the people that I was supposed to be spending time with. And I came across a book new to me in the new section, Thomas King, Aliens on the Moon. I think this was published in 2025, and I got it for half price. And I said, is it not selling very well? Is it not popular? And what this lady does is she gets new books in, not too many, And if they don't sell within a certain amount of time, she just has a limited shelf space for the new books, then she shifts them over to used books instead of sending them back. She will then get half price instead of full price. So I got this for $16, which is a great price. Now, Thomas King, don't know what I'm in for. It was just a new release. It sounds mad. The citizens of a small Ontario town face life-changing decisions. Bria's grandmother asks her to take her great-grandmother's rosemary to Edmonton and return it in person to the Pope. When she flings it into the lake, the rosary somehow hits the Pope, who is thousands of kilometers away, on the cheek. It is the same rosary. How is it possible? Thea is furious at her son for putting her in an old age home. She should have had a daughter. A daughter would have never forced her from her home. Darlene is mixed up with the no-good petty thief Billy, and it just keeps on going. Gary and Brenda from the dealership are having an affair. Richard wants to set up a dating profile but has no cell phone. I think it just sounds like a good old romp. And that is one thing Thomas King can be relied on. When he decides to romp, he romps. So this is going to be in one of my hopefully very soon reads. I did do some shopping. I bought myself some wool for socks. But I have quite a stash of sock yarn. Wherever I go, I buy sock yarn because locally there's only one store that's got decent sock yarn, and I think she's going out of business. Anyways, I don't like it. So no, whenever I go shopping, I look for my favorite brands of sock yarn. And what else did I buy? Books and knitting was basically it. Yeah. So I had a really nice time. The food was good. The people were amazing. And the weather sucked, but that was okay. The cat survived. We took her with us. And we had a really boring hotel room. It was dull, dark. It was like the color, the gray and the brown of the, and it's okay there because there's plenty of lateness around it, but the whole room to look like brown and gray, oh, it's horrible. So I was very glad to leave, and so was Kat. So we drove home lickety-split and went out into the backyard and just enjoyed the flowers, which I will probably take you on a tour next week. June, July are the best times for my garden, and I will, yeah, that's a good idea. Next week I'll take you on a little tour because it's looking pretty darn good. I'm proud of myself. So I hope all your reading dreams and adventures continue to come true, and I will see you next week, probably with a garden tour and something else. Bye-bye for now.